Okay, so here we are booting up this Windows 98 computer again. It's a compact computer running Windows 98 SC. And recently I finally got USB flash drives, such as this one here, working on this computer, which has USB 1.1 ports, I believe, and of course the write speeds are slower because of that. But at least you can use USB flash storage, which is really nice. Now, some changes since last time. So there are the errors for that. Let me just get the keyboard up here. And, okay. Okay, so we're logging in now. Now, a couple changes from last time. I found my USB extension cables, and actually I have two of them. And might be a little difficult to see, but I'll try lifting this computer a little bit. And I do have a light that might help with that. So plugged into both of the USB ports, actually, I have two USB extension cables. One is actually very short. It's just this thing right here. Essentially, you can plug a flash drive or something else into it. And I have two of them, so I tried plugging one into the other, and of course, that doesn't work for whatever reason, at least on this computer. But if I just plug one into each of the ports and I plug something else into those, then it works just fine. So one of them is pretty short. I mean, it's literally plugged in right down there, and this is as far as it comes. The other one is quite long, actually. And so the other end of that is right here. I have that coming up into here. And so I could just, because this computer was built before USB was actually very common in terms of, using it, because, keyboards and mice, they were PS2, not USB generally. So USB ports weren't very commonly used. They were just coming into commonplace use on computers, really. So on the front of this computer here, you can see that all there is a CD drive and a floppy disk drive down here. No USB ports in the front. So if you're trying to commonly use those USB ports, trying to plug flash drives in and out of there, in this case that's what I'm using them for, is just a huge pain. So having something like this is really nice because I don't have to mess around with the back of the computer each time. I can plug it in right here. And that's really convenient. So here we are, logged in now. I'll just open up my computer. Now I tried loading some files onto this floppy disk on a Windows 10 computer. And it's really interesting because the computer that I was using said, well, this disk is basically it just complained that, it wasn't reading it right, it couldn't read it, and it should be formatted. So I tried formatting it, and it couldn't format either. I tried a full format, it couldn't do that. And I thought it might have worked on this computer. Let me just put the floppy disk in here and see if that's the case. So you can hear the computer is reading the floppy disk. Wow, I get that same problem on this computer too now. Possibly because I tried formatting it. Possibly. So, I'm not going to bother formatting it now because I don't really need it. I'm just going to take the floppy disk out. There we go. And I do have some new files on here that I like to load. So let me just crack this open. It's a little difficult to do with one hand. And instead of plugging it back into the back of the computer, down where the USB ports are, I mean, that would be really difficult, especially if you don't have great access to the back of the computer, like in my case here. But this is really nice, because all I need to do is just get that in there. I think it goes in the other way, actually. Nope, I think it does go in this way. I had it right the first time. It's a little difficult to do with one hand. Okay, so I got it in there. And immediately it's recognized. I mean, it's very, very seamless once you have the drivers installed. And it's just plugged into the USB extension cord just like that. So very convenient for accessing it. And the removable disk just shows up at the bottom here. Now this is out of order. If I exit out and I reopen my computer, then it shows up sequentially in terms of drive order. But then I can just access it just like that. So I have some new files on here that I loaded from the Windows 10 computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load those on here, and hopefully some of those will work. I tried loading the 7Z file, the 7Z920.exe onto a floppy disk, but it didn't have any success with copying it over. So what I will do is, doesn't look like you can do that. You could do that back then. I'll just go like this and move that there. It'll open up another My Computer window. And I will go into the C drive, to drivers, and here's where I've been putting stuff. So at this point I'll just copy, well, I don't need all of this. I'll just copy these over to begin with. So this time the 7zip executable file, copies over successfully, and then I'll just copy, let's see, I have NIC here, and looks like I've already got those. So the only other thing that's in here is this Dell Modem folder, which has that in there. So I will copy that over. I'll just do Control-C, Control-V. And there we go. We've got everything loaded on here. And now I can eject this disk, or flash drive rather, by right-clicking and going to eject. And it doesn't disappear like in modern versions of Windows, but I'll just take it out now over here, and it will disappear from that screen. And now I can try to, I have two things that I would like to get working if possible. The Dell modem, well, it was a modem from a Dell computer. It's not actually a Dell modem, but it was a Dell modem that I installed in here, as well as the network interface card that was in that computer. So first I'll go for the modem. And I believe this copper 98 file is for the NIC as well, I believe. So I can just extract these files using WinZip. I don't actually know if Windows 98 had its own zipping utility at this time. So there we go. can close out of that. And all those files are in here now. And when booting up, there were a couple errors, and those are because of the NIC and the modem, because I wasn't seeing those until I installed those in the computer. So what I need to do is actually go to Device Manager. So here are network adapters. And let's see. It looks like this would include modems, because I don't see a separate thing for modem, which is interesting. So now if I go to Control Panel, let me get rid of that. And add new hardware. So it's going to search, and these it found before, so it's not one of these. So I'll click no, the device isn't in the list. I'll try that. I doubt it will work. And here is something that is kind of nice. There is a show desktop option. I don't know if it'll work now because it's doing this. And this is in a standard window. So but I mean, that wasn't really an easy thing to do up until Windows Vista, Windows 7 maybe. Even in Windows XP. It wasn't very straightforward, but it's nice to have an option like that. Looks like this is about done here now. And probably it won't find anything. Just closed on me. It didn't even tell me anything. Well, maybe that was because I showed the desktop. Yep. I think I see it there under some windows here. There it is. And it did not find anything. So it's going to ask me to manually select what I want to install. So I'm going to go to Modem here and see if I can get that working. And let me see if it can detect it automatically. I doubt it will be able to, but I mean, that is how I got the USB flash drives working on here. It automatically detected it, basically. So it didn't find anything. And the particular modem that was installed is a Conexant HCF V9056K modem. So if I go down here, I don't see Conexant. That's kind of tough. Yeah, what's selected right now? Just standard modem types. So it is a 56K V90 modem. If I go to next, it says select the port to use. It's not on the printer port for sure. It's on, maybe it's on COM1. It's probably the better choice to go with. Now it's going to, quote, install this modem. It says your modem has been set up successfully. But if we actually test this now, we'll open up Hyperterminal. And let me just open up this profile. Yeah, this is unable to open COM4 because that's what I was trying to get it to work by switching the COM ports. So, okay, so we have this generic standard 56 bits per second V90 modem that I just installed, or configured basically. I mean, who knows if that'll even work. And if I try call, and that looks good. Dial now disconnected. Well, this is a little bit better than before. Actually, my ETA was off, so let me get that on now. Maybe that was part of the problem. And if I try, yeah, now I have dial tone here. So if I try dialing now, oh, actually I know the other problem. The phone cable is not at present plugged into the computer. It helps when you have a phone cable plugged into your modem so that your modem can work. So let me just take care of that here. Okay, so I went ahead and plugged that in, and I'm guessing it's not going to work. Yeah, and it says disconnected. But this is better than, you know, it not working at all, I guess. I mean, I guess this isn't really working technically. But, some other potentially good news. So, I had to back the computer out a little bit here so I could plug the phone cable in, which is way down here. It's this one here. It's plugged into the second modem. But if you look, you see that green light down there. And that's from the network interface card. So, green light, well, maybe it's working. I haven't actually tried plugging a twisted pair cable into there. So I have one here now that I could try. I mean, I'm very skeptical that it would just be plug and play like that, but, you know, you never know. So let me just get that plugged in down here. And it's way, way on the bottom. So this guy right there.
think maybe it's upside down. Yep, there it is.
It went in there. And I don't see anything. Well, an easy way to test out if this worked. Let me go to Show Desktop and just open up Firefox. Yeah, and it says server not found. I doubted it would actually be that simple. So I mean, it is securely plugged in. Let's see, control panel, add new hardware. And nope, it's not one of these. So I guess we can go through that whole laborious process of it trying to find stuff that may or may not be plug and play compatible. Now there is a network section in control panel. Might be worth taking a look there. If I click add adapter, I guess. Let's see. This network interface card is from DAVICOM, I think. DAVICOM, I don't know. And I don't see that listed here at all. Just like the modem. What fun. But it came from a Dell computer. So, now the only one listed here is clearly not what I want. But maybe I can just see if this will work. I doubt it will. And, well, I don't know. Maybe I have two of these in here, it looks like. I don't know if that was there before. So, okay, so I didn't find anything. We will go to network adapters and get the same screen that we were just looking at. Yeah, so going through these. Now this is a Fast Ethernet network adapter. So 10100 essentially. So here we see 10100 again. Not from that manufacturer. And this doesn't really give you an option to choose a generic one. It does say if you don't know which model you have, click OK. So let me just try that again. Network adapters, just click OK. And that's essentially what I did already. Okay, it says to finish setting up your new hardware. I didn't really do anything. But sure, let's restart now and see if that does anything. And at this point, I still have the network cable connected to the network adapter. So that beep there, I don't usually hear that. So something may be different now. I don't know. Yeah, so one or more network transport drivers failed to load, and I have been seeing this as long as the modem and the network interface card have been installed here. Okay, so now we could try opening up Firefox. And I'm opening up Firefox because I believe that is the most modern web browser on this computer right now. The version of Firefox on here is from 2007, which compared to Internet Explorer 5 and the version of Netscape Navigator on here, I believe it has one of the original versions. This is by far the most modern browser, Internet Explorer 6 came out in 2001, I think. So, Internet Explorer 5 is definitely fairly old. Now possibly it's just this link that's broken, but I don't even think it's that. I just tried google.com for starts. Yeah, server not found. So it's definitely not working. And it says if you're unable to load any pages, check your computer's network connection. Let me try bing.com. Of course that won't work either. If I try an address on the network, it won't find that either. So the network adapter is just not connected. Well, actually, Firefox is attempting to access the internet. Well, maybe this has something to do with all this. Permit this application. Yes, that's what I want to do. And so that would just be the router here. If I try that, now it says can't establish a connection. So I'm guessing that was probably not the issue. If I try google.com, that's not going to work either. But it could indeed be something with antivirus, I'm not sure. If I open up Norton Internet Security, so this will definitely be helpful. Now this is from 2002. This is 16 years old, so as far as whether this is still adequate today for being online, probably not, but certainly better than nothing. Okay, so you were last attacked on none since reboot. That's good to know for sure. Personal firewall. For each application, blocks internet access until you permit it. Which is probably a good setting because it makes your computer invisible to others on the internet. You don't want other servers contacting this computer for sure. So this very explicit setting here is good to have for sure. Now just to see if possibly that could be the culprit here. If you go to personal firewall, internet access control. Okay, so all these applications are allowed, or maybe these are just all the applications. That's what it looks like. Maybe not. Okay. So I'll just go here and experiment with these settings. So let me just go here temporarily. See if that changes anything. Guessing that did not do it. Okay. Doesn't look like that was it. Let me just go back here. technically I'm not logged in. Let me just go here and see if that does anything. Yeah, and server not found. So it doesn't look like this is the culprit here. It seems more like it is the network adapter that is problematic here. Okay, so that's that. Okay, I've launched AOL here. Probably won't do anything, but okay. Yeah, so not working correctly. That was helpful. It definitely confirms that it's most definitely a problem with the network adapter. Well, I don't think anything is going to come of that. But that is interesting because the network adapter, actually now, if you look at it, now there are two lights on down there, as opposed to just one before. So, from a hardware perspective, it seems that the network adapter is working. If I can just get back in there. If I unplug this, now there's only one light. If I plug it back in, we have two lights. So the network cable is plugged in. The network adapter, from a hardware perspective, is physically working. So that's not the issue. But at least Windows is not able to detect that. Or at least the connection is not working properly. But that's all the troubleshooting for now.